Hi, I'm Steve Yoakum, the Executive Director of the Public School Retirement System and the Public Employees Retirement System of Missouri. I'd like to talk with you just a bit about the financial condition of the retirement system and where we find ourselves and the challenges that are faced us today. Number one, the point I'd like to make is, first of all, your retirement system's in good financial condition. As of June 30 of 2012, we were 81.5% pre-funded, which is an extremely healthy position. This past year, with an 8% assumed rate of return, our investment return was actually 12.3%. So our financial condition should improve as we get the final numbers in later this fall. So as you hear about retirement systems that are in bad condition or challenging, they're talking about someone other than the public school retirement system. I want to make that perfectly clear because there's an awful lot of information floating around, much of which is incorrect. But that's not to say we don't have challenges. We do. And I would put those challenges in two categories. First, investments. Second, political. The investments are always a challenge, particularly in the environment we find ourselves operating in. As many of you know, we have an 8% assumed rate of return. And in the low interest rate, low return environment we find ourselves in today, that 8% is a challenge. But for the fiscal year into June 30, 2013, your retirement fund was up 12.3%. Extremely positive year and one of the top quartile performers of pension funds around the country. That kind of investment performance, when compared to the 8% assumed rate of return, will improve the financial condition. But the challenge still exists from an economic standpoint. To earn an 8% return in an environment when interest rates and returns are so low. We continue to do well. We do well for two reasons, I think. First of all, we diversify well across asset classes. And number two, we were very concerned about fees, and we hold the fees down as low as possible. We're running this fund for just about 0.5%, a very low expense ratio. And that expense ratio helps us in the returns as well. So from an economic standpoint, certainly a challenge as we look at the world today, perhaps the most challenging investment environment that I've seen in my 35-year career. But again, we've done very well and we hope to continue to do well into the future. The second challenge is a little more difficult to quantify, and that's a political challenge. A political challenge, not in terms of Democrats and Republicans, but simply the atmosphere that we operate in. As we've watched the private sector lose pension coverage over the last 30 to 35 years, public employees and the defined benefit plan that they have is very important. It's also under attack in a number of different ways from those people who don't have that pension coverage any longer. As the private sector, for the most part, has shifted to 401ks and defined contribution plans, there's pressure to do the same in the public sector. It's not necessarily in the best interest of Missouri's educators, and certainly for the kids that they teach. We think that the plan that's been designed for the teachers in the state of Missouri is one of the best in the country. If you look at our plan, it's been in operation since 1946, and it does a very good job of helping our school administrators attract and retain the very best teachers we can to teach our kids. We think that'll continue. But that's not to say that we won't feel pressure. We've seen bills introduced to take new hires out of the retirement system and put them into a 401k type plan. We've also seen other kinds of pressure to more politicize the control of the system. When you look at our plan, one of the strengths of this system is that it is a defined benefit plan which pays a lifetime benefit, but it's controlled as an independent trust fund by elected officials. The majority of the board, 5 of the 7, are educators or retired educators. We think that's a very important piece. What can all of you do at this stage? Well, we try to do the best job we can as fiduciaries in running your retirement system. But we don't get involved in the politics of it. And that's one of the things that you need to be involved, perhaps more today than ever before, in terms of making sure that the politicians stay at bay from your retirement system. I would recommend that you do that by staying actively involved with the educational associations. Those associations have taken a very positive and active role in making sure the independence of the trust fund remains in place, and it continues to represent your interests both in Jefferson City and in Washington, D.C. So again, we hope that you stay involved. If you have questions about your retirement system or its operation, please feel free to contact me or anyone in our office.